The stony halls and ancient walls of an old monastery are fertile ground for all kinds of horror and intrigue. The Stone of Madness is certainly filled with both, painting an eye-catching portrait of secrets and skullduggery as you sneak around searching for an escape. As the days and nights drag on, though, the crack in its facade start to show, and the initially intriguing tactical stealth falls prey to too many technical issues. The Stone of Madness comes from developers Teku Studios and The Game Kitchen, the latter of which is best known for Blasphemous, a series of action games similarly laden with religious imagery. There are plenty of overt religious themes and visuals here, but instead of striking down giant bosses, you're quietly finding a way out of the 18th century Spanish monastery that acts as your jail.
May God have mercy on our souls, or whatever is left of them.
5 prisoners make up the core of your party, hoping to escape after a brutal encounter that binds them all together. The halls are patrolled by guards, priests, nuns, and soldiers, but the motley crew of would-be escapees have plenty of fun, useful tools to get around them. The holy man Alfredo, for instance, can put on priest robes and blend in with the clergy. Old Lady Agnes has witchcraft up her sleeves, casting curses on unsuspecting guards. Eduardo, the silent giant, moves boxes and breaks down walls, while the tiny Amelia can sneak through tunnels, lay down mousetraps, and pick pockets. Leonora was my go-to for most days. She can climb walls, pick locks, and drop ropes, opening up new routes for other characters in the process. She can also knock out guards or even kill them, though death comes with a cost. Days in the Stone of Madness alternate between daytime excursions and nighttime planning. Stealing resources, uncovering clues, and completing objectives all take place in real time during the day as you explore different areas of the monastery. Time also passes during the day, with patrol routes changing and malevolent spirits emerging as afternoon turns to evening and on into nighttime. Staying out late can be new rewarding opportunities, but also more dangers, which makes for some exciting thrills as you try to push your luck. At night, you can use your time and crew skills to recuperate and scheme. Your characters have health, suspicion ratings, and sanity to manage, so keeping them healthy and stocked with tools for their particular skill set is crucial. Managing the tasks you need to complete each day against your deteriorating well-being and limited nighttime activities make it feel like every victory is won against the ticking clocks of doom and entropy. Overcoming those odds, gaining mastery over the resources available, and thriving inside the walls of the monastery feels incredibly rewarding. Flipping between these characters can be a bit cumbersome while playing with a controller, but tinkering around with different combinations of abilities and options is enjoyable, and can lead to moments of perfect teamwork like this. Characters also have their drawbacks. Each of the 5 prisoners has their own fears to cope with or cleverly work around, and forcing them into certain situations will drain their sanity. Eduardo fears the dark, for instance, while Leonora cannot bear the sight of a blazing pyre. Finding ways to avoid these phobias, like lighting up darkened rooms or shooting down gargoyles with a pistol, adds more satisfying wrinkles to iron out the way to your objective. Lose enough sanity, and a character will develop a new affliction like claustrophobia. It's an interesting system, and I actually found it to add some compelling friction. These conditions would force me to be mindful of where I left characters standing or how I moved them through a space. Alfredo might be good at blending in with his priest clothes, but his migraines could strike at very inopportune moments. Frustratingly, when things do fall apart, it's not always because of your own mistakes. Across the roughly 25 hours it took me to finish the Stone of Madness's 2 separate campaigns, I ran into a ton of different issues, bugs, and glitches. A cutscene might pop Alfredo out of his priest robes, or a character gets stuck out of bounds while moving through tunnels. At one point, a guard got stuck on alert, running in place in an area I needed to sneak through. These frequent issues are tedious enough in isolation, but in a tactical stealth game where health and resources are at a premium, it can mean losing a lot of progress and a full reset of the current day, each of which can take upwards of 10 minutes. I even started avoiding certain areas or routes because I knew I could potentially run into a day-ending issue there, stamping out plans I had laid in the process. Repeating these encounters also makes the control issues stand out even worse. Getting a character to lock onto the right target, interact with the right object, or even sometimes maneuver around certain obstacles always feels a little too finicky and unresponsive. The camera could get unwieldy, and spaces could get hard to read. Tack on some weird graphical issues like characters popping up through the environment or objective markers appearing in the way of prompts, and it can all wear on you pretty fast. That's a shame, because the art and animations are simply fantastic overall, with absolutely gorgeous models and areas on display across each campaign. The stone walls, patches of greenery, and period-appropriate art littered about form a wonderful look for the Stone of Madness. An 18th century monastery is already a great setting choice, and the game kitchen uses the subject material well to create a memorable art style. Each task within the monastery is a breadcrumb trail leading the 5 prisoners closer to freedom, while also sending them teetering down into the darker secrets hidden within its walls. The Stone of Madness is a dark story, all about the corruption and rampant abuse within this supposed asylum. Through its 2 campaigns, the prisoners uncover many hidden horrors with plenty of wrinkles to force stubborn players to change up their approaches. Certain areas might be difficult for your preferred party to navigate through until you've unlocked alternate pathways, for example. Opening these areas up and mastering them over the course of a campaign is the greatest sense of achievement the Stone of Madness has to offer. Daily objectives help guide you along, but each new zone is really a puzzle to solve all on its own. Moments of carefully coordinated sneaking, puzzle solving, and thieving are when the Stone of Madness stands out the most. The actual stories told throughout both campaigns serve their purpose well enough. Several well-animated cutscenes make the high points resonate, but it's mostly told through text-only dialogue windows otherwise. The named characters are certainly memorable, like TL Del Nido, the egg-collecting elderly woman who gathers gossip, or the merchant Panaceo, who wears a loaf of bread for a hat. I wish some objectives were a little more overt about where to go next, but the intrigue compelled me enough to keep checking and rechecking old haunts to track it all down, and the tips and hints are extremely generous if you want them. Though there are 2 branching campaigns, each with their own areas to explore and stories to tell, they play out pretty similarly in terms of what you're actually doing. Additional characters to meet, stories to uncover, and areas to sneak around can add quite a bit to the total runtime, but they are largely 2 distinct flavors of similar ideas. Still, I enjoyed the new challenges a second route offered, especially since each campaign's final objective is a tense, thrilling challenge that lets every character shine in their own way. The Stone of Madness has some excellent art and great moments of sneaking around, but what should have been a fairly replayable and interesting prison break ends up buckling under the weight of its technical problems. Progress-halting bugs, graphical issues, and finicky controls all turn otherwise engaging sneaking missions into frustrating excursions. With some extra tuning, the Stone of Madness could be a refreshing take on tactical stealth. As is, there are too many obstacles getting in the way of what's good here. For more, check out our reviews of Alien Rogue Incursion or Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and for everything else, stick with IGN.